right, feeling good, just riding, and Holy Spirit ministering to me in my truck, so it's a little loud probably, but just Holy Spirit ministering, and I'm just letting it kind of flow as He give it to me. But the Bible says in Ephesians that the weapons of warfare are not carnal. They're not carnal. They're not man-made. They're not something tangible that we can reach out and touch. They're not those types of weapons that we see man go to war with, missiles and nuclear bombs and these type of things. The weapons of warfare are not carnal but mighty. Weapons of warfare are not carnal. But it goes on to say that not Ephesians. Anyway, it goes on to say in Ephesians that we wrestle not with flesh and blood. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but of spiritual wickedness in high places. Now, you have to go back and study what it means by high places, but for the sake of time, I want to share with you that Satan was in a high position. He was in a high position of authority in heaven. His complete body was made up of items to worship God. He led worship. That's what he did. He had the most intimate relationship with God. Worship. That is. But he wasn't satisfied worshiping God. He wanted somebody to worship him as God. So he set out to destroy God's creation. When Satan was put out, third of the angels, he was put out, and therefore God no longer had at that particular time, if you will. This is not necessary to get in a theological debate, but I want you just thinking about it in this sense that, his worship leader was gone. Now, who would lead worship? Well, let's create man in our own image. So God created man in his own image, and man became a worship leader. You shall love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And that is a worship. The day will come when they will worship me in truth and spirit. But I believe we were created to worship. I believe that's what we were created to be. And some people say, well, that's a selfish God, or that's an arrogant God that would just create something to worship him. And I don't have a time to get into that piece, but truly it's not worship as we think about worship. Worship was relationship. And God created man to have a relationship with him. Right? And so, nevertheless, Satan inserted himself in the garden, and he said, hey, God knows if you eat of this fruit. So he wanted to make man disobey God. And the Bible says Satan came to kill, steal, and to destroy. I think in my mind, when I hear kill, steal, and destroy, I think about how he came in to really kill man. That was his first assignment. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him because I have to get rid of him and turn him on God, and therefore he'll worship me. This was a strategic plan. It's not something that you just come off the cuff with. This was strategic, that he would kill man, and it seemed as though he succeeded. He had man disobey God, and because of that, God said, now you're going to die. Now you're going to die. conversation in the book of Job, first chapter, where Job began to be called a perfect man that eschewed evil. He did not do evil in the sight of God. But Satan inserted himself again to steal the protection that God had placed around man. He was going to steal that protection, going to take that away. Now he did it was, he said, okay, this human that you created won't worship you. He'll curse you if you take that hedge. And then a little later on, we find him for a last time. He would destroy God by making God worship him. How would he destroy God? Because he told Jesus, if you bow down and worship me, I'll make you the God of this world. Now, what does that mean? That means that all of humanity is destroyed because we have absolutely no way of redemption if Jesus decided to worship Satan. If Jesus would have worshiped Satan, it would have been over for salvation. There was not another way. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. There's no other way except through Christ shedding his blood on Calvary. And mind you, this was right before the crucifixion. So had he decided to side with Satan and become the God of this world, then he would have relinquished his throne. And in essence, in my belief, Christ, the man, would have died. He may have lived a long life, but he would have died just like any other man. And there would have been no resurrection. So therefore, no shedding of blood, because he wouldn't have been crucified. Without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin. So it's my belief that that would have completely altered our ability to live and have an everlasting life with Christ. Nevertheless, this is the assignment of the world. This is when you're living and you're maturing and you're growing up. The enemy wants you to become disobedient. That's the first thing that he uses as a weapon to draw a wedge in between you and your father and your mother, if you will. Same way he drew a wedge between Adam and Eve and God. It was his assignment to now draw a wedge between them. So we see that Satan, that was his plot. He comes in to kill, steal, and destroy. So he kills your opportunities for your to have a relationship with those that love you. Those that love you and care for you, he begins to kill that relationship. His second assignment in within the disobedience is to then steal your mind. Turn your mind against what you know to be true. That's what he did. That's what he does. And he turns your mind and separates you from everybody that loves you. Everybody that loves you, everybody that cares about you, everybody that if you were in need of a kidney, if you were in need of something that, bone marrow, whatever it is that somebody would have to give up a part of themselves to make you live, you lose it. You lose it. Because now he separates you from family. He puts you around people that won't challenge you on how you're treating your family and how you're living your life. He will never challenge you in that way. And then here what his grand finale is. You begin to worship him. You begin to worship money and worship your body and worship your things and your children and your house and your career and your opportunities and your success. You became a lover of yourself. You become consumed with a form of godliness. You say cleanliness is next to godliness. This is why people feel that now without God, I can be God. And so they're consumed with themselves, but they deny the power of God. So what you have is an individual that is disobedient. Now they have turned against what they know is true and created their own truth, created their own belief, their own faith. And so ultimately it destroys them, because they become worshipers of themselves. The Bible says they left what was natural and man went to what was unnatural and became lovers of themselves. They fell in love with themselves. They look in the mirror and, whoo, I'm fine. I look good. Look at me. I'm this and I'm that. They begin to worship themselves. This will get you so far off the path that God has predestined for us. But so many are believing that as long as my mind seems to be intact, then I'm winning. The truth of the matter is, the Bible says that we should be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. There's wisdom in that, because it's letting you know that a serpent is wise. If you watch the very nature of a serpent, you will see it is wise. One of the most unique attributes of a serpent, a modern day serpent, is its ability to have patience. It can sit coiled for hours and hours till it completely becomes a part of its environment, and a rodent or a prey is comfortable enough to come within striking distance of it. The enemy has a cunning way of laying motionless, of acting as though he isn't there. Somebody said one time that Satan's greatest trick is proving the world he doesn't exist. That you somehow convince yourself that you're in an environment where Satan does not exist. You're in an environment where evil could never happen to you, that because you're doing the right things and saying the right things, you feel safe, and it's a false sense of security. And so that serpent is wise enough not to move until his prey is so close, it'll be impossible for it to get away. Satan wants to lure you so far in. When he strikes, you have no chance of recovery, because you have destroyed your relationship with God. You have destroyed any part of you that would turn to God in the time that you are struck by Satan. So the idea is that God sees what's happening, but because you won't turn to him in the time of your trouble, he cannot save you. said to be taught to the National Guard. National Guard go out when there's a shipwreck, stress call, SOS call out in the ocean, and when they get out there, some of the individuals may be in the water. But the philosophy they live by is the model or the belief or the idea that they are to rescue the individuals that are swimming to them first. You have individuals that are swimming to you, get them first, because without any question they are asking for help. And once you're able to get them safe, then you can begin to try to figure out why the others are swimming away. God is looking for those that are swimming to him. The Bible says, if draw nigh to me, I'll draw nigh to you. Resist the devil, and he shall flee. You have to resist him. So, young people, as you go out into this world, realize that Satan has a mission. He has an assignment. You have to stay prayed up, stay in his word, stay close to your family, close to those that love you, your church. Don't let success